doesn't look like it, but it's a 2015 Subaru BRZ, and I've swapped the distinguishing front bumper for its twin, the FRS. So It looks like a Scion FRS, but it's really a Subaru BRZ.
So why this car?
One of the reasons is I didn't know anything about cars when I got it, and I knew it was a Subaru, and it got good reviews. And my last car was a Subaru, and I liked it. So that's why I got it. It's a great platform for making it your own. That's the main thing I've enjoyed. Just a bunch of little tweaks to make it unique. I was really after something really small and purpose-built, like kind of no wasted space sort of thing. Just me and my wife right now, no kids, so why not have a little fun car for a while? The biggest difference is the exterior. Obviously, the emblems have been swapped for the original Katakana Toyota emblem. This car is a joint project between Subaru and Toyota. The headlights and the fog lights, pretty much all the exterior lighting actually has been swapped out. The fender garnishes were another way to distinguish the cars, and then there's a little spoiler on the back. Swap that out as well. I knew I wanted to go for the silver and black look. I started with the free stuff. There's a mod you can do with the clutch pedal to make it feel more linear. You take out an assist spring that people say makes the clutch feel better, so I took out my wrenches and screwdriver, and that was the first thing I did to the car. Pretty much immediately after that, I swapped the catback, because the previous owner, I found out later, is the loudest possible catback you can buy. I actually picked up this car in St. Louis, so I flew overnight, had to sleep in the airport because they canceled my flight. No sleep, driving the loudest possible version of this car home, 14-hour drive straight. First thing I did when I got back was just unbolted it and said, I'm getting a different catback. I literally have hearing loss because of that.
So what's on it now?
It's a custom exhaust aftermarket, pretty much from the header back. So it's a JDL unequal length catless header, JDL titanium overpipe and front pipe combo, dual resonated, and HKS Spec L catback. No more cats. It's been tuned with the flex fuel kit as well, so I'm running E85 and it pushes about 205, maybe 207 horsepower to the wheels. Suspension-wise, pretty simple. The Teen Flex A. It's supposed to be a good balance between road and track. I think it rides pretty well. There were some really cheap coilovers on it from the previous owner. These are worlds better. They're height adjustable, dampening adjustable. Fronts have camber from the top hats, and then I added lower control arms to the rear, so it's got full camber adjustment as well.
Is it your daily driver?
It is, yeah, it's my only car. It has to be comfortable around town, but then also kind of let me tear loose on the back road if I want.
Have you taken it on a significant trip?
The only really long trip I've taken it on was right after I bought it, so just driving home to North Carolina where we lived at the time. That was 14 hours. It did great.
Except for the earplugs?
Right.
Except for the hearing loss?
Right, should have brought earplugs, man. That was rough.
Is there anything that you ran into, like, oh, I didn't know I'd have to do that kind of thing?
Yeah, everything is hard because I'm not a car mechanic. This is the first car I've ever worked on. So before I would take it into the shop for everything, and now I'm trying to flip that around. I'm changing all my fluids, doing the wheels and tires myself, doing all the maintenance myself, doing all the mods myself that I can. So I've done everything from raising the engine to changing out the engine mounts, doing all the exhaust stuff, doing all the fluids, tail lights, pretty much everything except really complicated wiring I can do myself now. So it's going to be a fun project car. It's a lot of time and trouble and sweat and blood, and sometimes you cut yourself, wrenching something on and off. At the same time, I do really like working on it. It's a lot of fun. You can get into them pretty cheap. They're pretty good stock, and then it's also has a lot of headroom to grow. So obviously you can grow the power just with bolt-ons like I've done significantly. You can add 30% more horsepower to the car. So you can also improve suspension and handling and cooling and appearance. So I've really enjoyed having it and slowly building it up. Some modifications to the intake to simplify the airflow. Added a high flow reusable filter for the engine and the cabin. I like to replace things with reusable parts, so I'm trying to do that with the oil filter next. I'm going to do a magnetic reusable oil filter. I've done a drain plug on the bottom for the oil instead of the bolt. So I can just open and close it. I don't have to worry about torquing it down. I don't have to worry about crush washers or anything like that. It's kind of quality of life stuff. I'm going to add a brake vent kit, so instead of the fog lights, it'll be a little tube that runs in and spits out cold air into the center of the rotors just to help the brake pads stay alive for longer, because I'm trying to think long term. What can I do now that's going to save me money later?
That's all stock brakes.
Stock brakes. I'm going to put stainless steel lines on, and then with the vent kit, I think the brakes will be all right. It's a light car. You can get by with just kind of a pad for daily use, even if you're driving it hard. That's one nice thing about a small, light car. You can really get by without a lot of extra expense for performance mods like brakes and tires and stuff.
So what are the future plans?
If I build up the courage and we have some extra money laying around in case the engine blows, I will turbo it. But you got to be careful with these cars. The FA20 engine can't handle a lot of torque at the low RPM, so you have to be careful with the tune. Flex fuel helps because of cooling and knock resistance. Getting a good tune is really important, and then I'm going to get fuel pump injectors, a new clutch, and maybe even a new oiling intake system, because I've heard some people get air pockets at high revs. Previous owner put in a head unit with Apple CarPlay and a sub and all the wiring for that, and I kept that because the sub's pretty nice quality. That's pretty much the only mods from the previous owner I kept in. The knee pads over the speakers help you rest your leg against the side. Dash trim been replaced with leather. Steering wheel is a flat bottom steering wheel instead of the standard. A little bit of a chunkier grip. I managed to lower the seat a little bit by cutting out some supporting material on the bottom. That's made a bit of a difference with improving headroom, which has been nice. I added in this armrest for quality of life as well. Pedals have all been overlaid with grippier texture. My foot was sliding off a bit on the stock ones. The clutch pedal adjustment I talked about earlier, and then all-weather floor mats. This is a TRD performance part. It's supposed to hold the door to the rest of the car. So when you shut the car, it'll move just as much as it needs to and then create a solid connection between the door and the car. It stiffens it up a bit.
So is there a specific reason why you picked the NKs? Did you look at a bunch of different types of wheels, or is that just the one you like the style of the most?
Style I could take or leave. I wanted something light and strong and cheap. And the NKs are all three. There's only a few wheels that are like that.
So the all-important question, what's your wife think of it?
She likes it. She doesn't like when I'm working on the car and I'm under it because it freaks her out, but she likes riding around the car. She thinks it's cool. She was not happy when I flew out to get it and drove it 14 hours back, but yeah, she's been a good sport. She likes it. It's a fun car. It was made to be fun, which is great. There's only a few cars that are made to be fun. No one else really maximizes that, or fun factor is really high for sure.